Question I hear the most from people when it concerns life coaching is this question: what is life coaching, John? Every life coach approaches the subject matter from a different perspective. I'm going to give you mine. It's how I work with people. My interpretation of life coaching and how I work with the people that I'm fortunate enough to work with comes from the first word in the description: life. I don't believe that you can be successful in life without creating balance in your life. Now, I know that's easier said than done. 100 years ago, we didn't need life coaches. 50 years ago, we didn't need life coaches. Today, in order to keep that balance, it's almost necessary to have someone on the sideline cheering us on, making observations, helping us make adjustments so we can get that balance in our lives. Easiest way to describe that balance is to tell you a little story. Had a client who came to me and was very adamant about the fact that he was going to improve his professional life. And his long-term goal was to make money. Right? He felt that the best way to do that was for him to climb the corporate ladder, work 12 to 18 hours a day, sacrifice everything, blah, blah, blah. Then he would reach within 10 years his financial goals. Well, one of the first questions I asked him was that, yeah, I think there is sacrifice involved and necessary for every goal that you and I undertake. But is some of that sacrifice worth it and some of it not? So I asked him, would he really be hurting himself? And he asked me, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, if you're going to concentrate on developing yourself professionally so you can reach your financial goals, what's going to happen to the relationship aspect of your life? And he just kind of looked at me. And I said, you know, you're not going to have any time for your family, not going to have any time for your friends. What's going to happen there? And then there's another aspect of your life that's part of the 5 that create balance, and that's called spiritual. Now, you know, spiritual means different things to different people. In this guy's case, his spiritual notion revolved around creating time for himself to relax, to meditate, to get in touch with who he was and where he was going. And I brought up to him that, gee, if you're working 18 hours a day and your single sole focus is going to be on developing your career, when do you think you're going to have time to do this? So you've talked about relationships, we've talked about spiritual, we've talked about financial, we've talked about professional, and there's a 5th one that's equally important, and that's your health. And with that goes diet and exercise and making sure that, you know, you follow the proper prescription your doctor gives you, or whatever type of healthcare provider you have. And I said to him, how do you think this is going to relate to your health if you're really pushing the envelope? I'd like to tell you there was a happy ending there. He just sort of kind of looked at me and said, "Dan, what do you know?" If you want to reach your goals, there has to be some balance in your life. Now, I'm not suggesting that some areas of your life aren't more important to you than others. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I'm saying if you throw your eggs in the proverbial basket and go chugging down the road and not really open to looking at other aspects of your life, you will have short-term success. One of the reasons diets don't work: we become so single-minded on losing weight, we become so single-minded on denying ourselves things, that in the short term we reach there, but the other aspects of our life, the relationship, the spiritual, even the health and well-being, our financial, our professional areas, they all start to suffer. I remember years and years ago, I worked with a lady who had a button on her shirt in the office and it said, "Pray for me, I'm on a diet." And I thought that was kind of interesting because I thought maybe We all should have had buttons that said, "Pray for us, she's on a diet." We know what it's like to be around people like that sometimes, especially the further and further into the experience they get. One of the reasons I've been moderately successful in doing some of the things I'm doing in relationship to my health is because I have worked on strengthening relationships with people here in my life, people who I've met through online communities, people I don't even know that I've walked up to and said, "Excuse me, I understand." I have looked at my spiritual life. And for me, that means a lot of things. We'd be here for 8 hours if I got into that. But suffice to say, what it means to me is taking that time for John, being able to reflect, being able to develop. It means giving and sharing with others. And there are all kinds of things that kind of go into the cobble work that's my spiritual life. Okay. That's what life coaching is to me. Now, what is a coach? Well, it's simply what the word says. He is a person who encourages. He is a person that helps motivate. He's a person that knows what questions to ask. Another story. One of the things you'll find from working with me as we talk with one another, I use a lot of stories. I'm a good storyteller. Okay. My daughter had a difference of opinion with one of her bosses at work. And my daughter is a price coordinator for a large pet supply, pet store chain in the United States. And she does a very, very good job. She's very, very proud of what she does. And one day last week, her boss came in and said, "Hey, I'm going to have you start coming in a little later for the next 3 weeks. We've got a new manager, and I want him to train on price changes and scanning and everything else. And so what I'm going to have you do is kind of slide over and take care of some other stuff. Let him come in early and let me spend some time with him so he knows what's going on." Well, my daughter called later that evening, and you'd have thought somebody broke in her house and robbed her. Okay, how can he do this to me? That's my job, blah, 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 blah. Just upset and upset. Well, at any rate, I had an opportunity to pick her up from work one day. She was having some vehicle issues, and we're driving down the road. She's going on and on about her boss, and I said, "Let me ask you something. What do you think this is really all about?" "Well, he's a jerk." I said, "Okay, well, he may be. But what do you think this is really all about?" "Well, that's my job." I said, "Aha. But what is it really all about?" Make a short story long, the place she came to was, "Gee, this means an awful lot to me." So when he decided to tinker with this, he was tinkering with me. Light bulb. That was a coaching moment. Notice I didn't give any advice. Notice I didn't say, "Here's what you really need to do." I asked a lot of questions. The other thing about coaching is it's confidential. Anything you might happen to tell me, I don't really share with anybody. Joan and I have the kind of relationship that my work is my work. And I will share good things, like if you won the lottery and had $191 million, I might tell her, "Someone I know." Okay. What you share with me is entirely up to you. Okay. I think you may have heard me say before or read some of my blogs, coaching is not therapy. I am not a therapist, nor do I want to be one. Therapy deals with the past. Coaching deals with the future. So part of what I'm going to be doing when I'm working with you is I'm going to help you kind of ferret out some of the goals and objectives you have in your life. I'm going to help you set up an action plan. And in the next video that I send to you, I'm going to get into that a little more. What I wanted to do in this first one was simply take the time to let you know what my philosophy of life coaching is. I very rarely give advice when I'm doing this. If you want it, I always tell people my advice and $1.59 buys you a Diet Coke. I can tell you what I do. That may not necessarily be the best thing for you. Now, you share with me what you choose to share with me. It's all confidential. But realize that when we work together in creating a vision statement, and don't worry about what that means right now, and then setting up some action plans and goals for you, I can only help you do that based on what you share. So, entirely up to you. That's life coaching. Somebody once asked me, do we have to go out in the desert and sit under a pyramid and pray to the sun? Well, not unless you want to, and take a video, because I ain't going with you. Life coaching simply is helping people put their lives in balance. One of the mottos my business had that I came up with when I first started it was helping good people become better. And that's what I do. So, end of video number 1, about 11 minutes long. If you have any questions, comments, sarcastic remarks, you can either email me, or if you'd like, on the bottom of the email I sent you my phone numbers there. You can feel free to give me a call. I am a very relationship-oriented person, and I like the personal contact and the personal touch. So stay tuned. There's more to come.